beautiful humans, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Oh my god, do I have a video for you today. One listen, just by the headline, one listen. And this information is how you can change your life with your subconscious mind. So shall we dive straight in? Let's go. I've got my notes here, so if you see me glancing down, that is why, because I have a lot to get through and I wanted to make sure that I touched on every important factor or point, if you will. Okay, so first things first, let's talk a little bit about our brain. Now, I know this may not interest everyone, but for me, it is some juicy facts. And I love everything to do with the brain. Now, the brain is our control center. That's what it is. And I'm going to turn my phone on Do Not Disturb because otherwise I'll get distracted. So, yeah, the brain, or as I like to call it, as I just said, our control center. So let's just break it down, and I'm going to try my best to make it as simple as I possibly can because it is a very multifaceted, multi-complex thing, our beautiful brain. So we have different parts that make up our brain. And the first part I want to touch on is what's known as our prefrontal cortex. So we have our neocortex, which kind of makes up the front sort of half of our brain, and then we've got other parts at the back there. But this at the front is essentially our thinking mind or our conscious mind, okay? So this is at the front. Believe it or not, we only use about 5% of this part of our brain. How crazy is that? 5% of what we do is conscious. How freaking wild. So its role is for all of our cognitive functions, such as impulse, attention, memory, thinking, all of those things. So we also have what's known as the left and the right side of the brain. And this corresponds to many different things within our body. And I can actually go into that another time. If we decompose the parts of the brain, I can explain them. If that is something that is going to interest you, let me know in the comments below. But we're just briefly scratching the surface today. So, yeah. Our subconscious mind, however, is stored in a part of the brain that is known as the cerebral cortex. And I hope that I'm pronouncing these right because I have mumbled and fumbled my words plenty of times. So the cerebral cortex, is the outermost layer of the brain that is associated with our highest mental capabilities. So this part of our brain is primarily constructed of gray matter, neural tissue that is made up of neurons. So there is between 14 and 16 billion neurons being found here in this part of the brain. Like, what? How incredible is that? So how does this all tie into changing your life? How? Because that's really what we want to know, right? If we're in a circumstance where we're not loving it, we don't maybe like the way that we behave, or we do things out of impulse or reactiveness or intolerance, and there's just aspects of our lives or our being, who we are, that we may not love that much, which it is equally important to accept and love these parts of ourselves. But by accessing our subconscious mind, this is what it opens us up to. So because this is 95%, right? So remember, the other 5% is this front thinking mind that we're 5% conscious. The other 95% is where we operate from, is the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind processes things like language, memory, reasoning, thought, decision-making, intelligence, and of course, our emotions. So if all of our memories are stored in our subconscious mind and we repeat the same patterns throughout our life, How do we rewire or essentially download new software? That's probably the best way I could just describe this. If we think of ourselves as a computer, if we think of our brain as a computer, a lot of the things we absorb and observe and patterns and programming and all that stuff comes from ages between 0 and 7. That's our most, what's the word I'm looking for? That's where we're downloading all of our information, really taking in and absorbing our external environment. Hence, we pick up on behavioral patterns. We pick up on certain beliefs, and it's stored right back there in our subconscious mind. So in order to rewrite these, self-limiting beliefs or these programs that we kind of might be feeling like aren't ours, they were just passed on to us. And the older we get, we sort of think, that's not, I really don't actually believe that. I really don't believe that, but it's such a deep-rooted thing that it, at the same time as you trying to consciously change these patterns, it's simultaneously, subconsciously self-sabotaging. If that makes sense. That's probably the best way I could describe it. So how do we essentially download new software programs into our computer, our brain? Because no doubt there's a lot stored on this hard drive. There is a lot throughout your life that you have stored in this particular hard drive of your mind. Yeah? And a lot of it we're not even aware of. A lot of subconscious programming we are not even aware of. And I guarantee you there are still things that are stored in my subconscious mind that I have not even uncovered yet. And I've uncovered a lot through my healing modalities and the practices and the work that I have done and the healing. But I know for a fact that there is some stuff that is stored so deep inside my subconscious mind that I am yet to uncover. So I can't wait for that. And this is, of course, not to scare anyone, because I know it can be a very confronting process when we're this honest with ourselves and we really start to unlearn and really, bring up all these stored memories, these stored emotions, these stored belief systems. So, definitely honoring that, because it can be very, very confronting. Okay, let's move on. Where was I? So first we need to learn how to access these parts of our brain. This is done by slowing down the brainwave state. So we've got about beta, alpha, delta, theta, gamma. There's about 5 different brainwave states, or there is 5 different brainwave states. So we've got beta, which is the highest. We've got alpha, which is just under that. They're really starting to slow. That's a really kind of relaxed state. Then you've got beta. That's like really, 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 really relaxed. This is just before sleep. Then you've got theta, which is sleep. That's or unconsciousness. And then you've got gamma, which is gamma. I think I said that right. I don't know. But that's like super, super, super not even in your body. Relaxed. So we are able to access these different brainwave states. So when we do things like meditation, breathwork, hypnotherapy, that is what we're doing. We are slowing down our brainwave state. So when we do something like breathwork, for example, we are bringing our brain waves from a high beta, which is this wakeful state. Me speaking to you right now through the camera, I'm in a high beta or I'm not in a high beta really, but my brain waves would be very active right now. Okay, so I'm not at all really in a relaxed state. My body feels relaxed, but my mind is working. Okay, so what tends to happen is that causes a lot of activity. So if you're thinking a lot and you're overthinking a lot and you have trouble switching off your mind, these practices will really assist you in slowing down your brain waves and really allowing you to get beyond this mind, the conscious mind, the thinking mind, the mind that really blocks us accessing the subconscious. which is where we want to be, because that's where everything is stored, and this is actually where we're operating from. So anything that needs changing, behaviors, patterns, programming, limiting beliefs, it's all back there. So unless we can shut this thing off and get back here to rewire and or first of all, access what's there, heal it, feel it, notice it, become aware of it, gain clarity around it, then we are able to change it. But first we must acknowledge what is there. Okay? So I'm just looking at my notes. Yeah, so obviously, like I just touched on, this allows us to access our memories, our trauma that is stored, feel emotions associated with these things so that our body is able to complete the stress cycles that it maybe didn't in the past. And through this, we also gain clarity, newfound perspective, and perception of our external world. So this is how you can change your life through your subconscious mind, your subconscious processes. So this very thing has the ability to change the nature of your very reality. Because you think, like, if we've got a computer, like think of a computer. I just want to use this analogy for a second. If you've got a computer and it's really fucking old and it's like full to the brim, and you go and you try and plug in some new software, something really new and improved, and just like trying to get this old computer, this old thing to adapt to this new software, what do you think is going to happen? The computer is probably going to shit itself. It's not going to have the capacity to be able to hold this new software, right? So the same thing goes for our brain. Unless we clear out the old, or we can't get a new brain. We can always get a new computer for sure, but let's just think that our brain is the computer. Okay, but what we're doing is extracting all these old programs, all these old self-limiting beliefs, all this trauma, all this stored emotion. We're extracting that from our brain. We're making room. We're creating space, yeah, so that we are able to have space in our brain for newfound beliefs, newfound reality, because we're then able to create it. Because we're changing our patterns, we're changing our beliefs. Now, this is not an easy process. This takes time, because if you think about it, a lot of us have been operating, no matter how old we are, for most of our lives with these same beliefs, with these same set of programs. So it's very easy, because our brain and the chemicals that our brain sends to our body to affirm these feelings or affirm these beliefs or affirm all these things are quite strong. They've been firing and wiring for a very long time, 20, 30, 40, 50 years or more. So it's not to say it can't be done. It can absolutely be done. But is it easy? Not really. Because it's easier for us to stay where it's comfortable and stay with what we've always known. So we have to make it active, conscious, even though that's 5%, but an active, conscious decision once we've gained clarity, once we've acknowledged what's in our subconscious mind, what our programmings are, what our beliefs are, and what we are willing to let go of. What part of those programs and beliefs no longer serve us in this moment right now? And how can we change the very nature of our reality, our behaviors, and our personal reality in order to remove those old programmings? And it's so easy to fall back into it, but having the awareness around the way you do things or why you do things, and that may become clear in accessing this subconscious mind, that may become clear. So where was I going with that? I've lost my train of thought. I've lost it. Let me continue. If I remember, I'll come back to it. This always happens to me. Always. So, yeah, okay, this is why I read my notes. This may be explaining what I was about to say. Once we have this awareness, we can begin the process of rewiring our subconscious mind. we rewrite, that's a little bit of a tongue twister to say really fast, the process, of our deep-rooted beliefs. We become a new being and we start to behave differently. We start to experience new experiences, which means we then fire and wire new neurons in our brain. So the brain starts to send brand new signals into the body, and so we heal and begin to change on a cellular level. And what this is doing, I just want to touch on this quickly. For a very long time, we thought that our DNA was hereditary, or it was just whatever our DNA is, like we're stuck with that. Like we can't control the nature of our DNA. Not true. We now know that our very DNA, our cells, respond to our external environment. So depending on how we react to our external environment, that's sending a signal into the nucleus of the cell, okay? And it's pretty much recoding, repackaging our DNA. That's in the simplest term. It goes a lot more in depth, but I feel like I could do a whole separate video on things like this. So that's what I mean when I say we are changing our physiology through the breath, through meditation. We are changing the state of our brain waves and what neurons we are firing and wiring through neuroplasticity, and we're through new experiences. Because if you think about it, if you get up and you wake up the same way every day, you get out of bed the same side every day, you make the same coffee, the same breakfast, it's all familiar. Yeah, so part of reprogramming and accessing and rewiring the subconscious mind to create change, is to gift yourself new experiences every single day. So that could look like getting out of the opposite side of the bed, creating a really funky way to get out of bed, having a different breakfast, maybe not even having a coffee, or making your coffee different or in a different way. Because even the slightest change in your habits, in what you're used to and familiar in the familiar, is going to have just 1% of change every single day is going to start to fire new neurons and store new memories and create new habits. And then through breathwork and meditation and healing the old trauma, the stored emotions that weren't healed a long time ago, that's creating the space for these new memories and these new feelings, these elevated emotions to be stored. Yeah? Because our body, this is what makes us fall back into the subconscious programming, is our body receives chemicals every single day, all day long, from our brain to our body to give it what it's desiring, what chemicals it's needing. So whether we're depressed or we're in joy, our body is continually sending those signals to the body. And a lot of the time, that's where self-sabotage comes in. It's because we may be feeling these elevated emotions of joy and liberation and happiness, and then the body is like, hang on a fucking minute, I haven't had the chemical of like depression for a while. I haven't felt that. Like, can we reaffirm that? And so this is where it'll access that subconscious mind to be like, oh yeah, remember when this happened? Remember this memory and you felt this way? Yeah, the body's needing that feeling. So we're just going to remember this memory real quick and we're going to feel that feeling. You know what I'm saying? So there's lots of parts to this, but the simplest way I can describe it is getting beyond the mind, getting into our body, coming into our center, our heart, through mindfulness practices like breathwork, meditation, grounding on the earth, sun gazing, practices that have you in a meditative state, reading a book, educating yourself. If you have trouble meditating, it's just because you have trouble switching this off. So if you, for the most part, can figure out something that you love that puts you in a meditative state, then do more of that. Do more of that. Because meditation doesn't have to be closing down your eyes and being in your body, as much as I would highly recommend, and I love that. being in a meditative state is doing something that allows you to slow down. That's all we're trying to do, is slow down. Okay? And if you have any questions and you want more information, then please reach out to me in the comments or send me, I don't know if you can send messages through YouTube, but anyway, if you click any of the links below and you know, follow any of my other socials, you'll be able to, reach out and ask any questions if you want to know more about this. But to put it simply, that is all we are trying to do. To access our subconscious mind means to get out of the conscious mind and slow right down. Slow right down. Again, yes, it can be confronting, but all that we are doing is accessing it so we can become aware, so that when we're aware, when we have these subconscious things come up, we can call ourselves out and go, oh, I know what that is. That's a subconscious program, and I'm here to break that. I'm here to break that fucking chain. Yeah? So, we must be patient. We must be patient with this process. Give ourselves grace. Don't make yourself feel fucking bad if you have a moment where you've fallen back. You know, for me, I'm quite impulsive, and recently I went and bought a watch that I didn't need because I was seeking external validation or instant gratification for myself because I didn't want to face what I really needed to feel. And so I noticed that, and I was like, wow, I know what I've just done. But instead of making myself feel guilty, I felt it. I made myself very aware of it, and that's something that I am working on moving through. And understanding that I don't need to reach for external things. I don't need instant gratification. I just need to feel my fucking feelings. Yeah? So this is the kind of clarity that you can gain from practices like this. What else? Yeah, 100%. We will fuck it up at times. I was just reading my notes. It's really easy. Like I said before, we've been operating this way for the majority of our lives. Yeah? And some things you'll be like, what the fuck? Like, I can't believe that that's something that I was told or taught or picked up growing up, or something I inherited if it's a behavioral trait or something like that. But give yourself grace. Offer that self-compassion, that self-love, because you have only known what you've known so far until you've got to this point, and something just doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right in your body. Your beliefs don't feel like they're yours, and you have the fucking power to rewrite them. You have the power to do that. Yeah, how fucking epic is that? This is why I guess some of us are referred to as the chain breakers, because that is what we're doing. We're breaking the chains of generational trauma, things that have been passed down genetically. We're rewiring all of that. So it's a big job, but that's what we're here to do. So really embrace that, really step into that and really own that, because at times it's fucking lonely. At times it sucks, and you kind of think, what? Nobody else could have done this? Nobody else could have been the one to break the chains. All good. It fell all on me. Fuck yeah. But it is such a beautiful thing, and we are here to learn these lessons, and that's what's even more magic about it. And it just becomes, your life just becomes so fucking potent when you are the one to be doing this stuff and learning the lessons that you're learning. It's fucking beautiful. So definitely embrace that. As you start to gain access as well, I don't want to say it becomes easier, but because you're aware, that's where it becomes easier in a sense, because you are able to call yourself out on your own shit. Yeah, and then from that, you're creating more space. You're getting rid of what doesn't need to be stored there anymore, and you're opening up to the endless, limitless opportunities that surround you, and you're able to actually store there these elevated emotions, this different new perspective, these new experiences. It's fucking epic. So beautiful beings, that's all I have on the subconscious mind. Of course, it's more in depth. There's a bunch of different books that I would recommend you read if you want to know more about it, and I can link them below. If not, reach out and I can send you a few different links and things like that. Yeah. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. Big, big love, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.